Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Distinguished guests, members of the Board of Trustees, alumni, students, faculty and staff, parents, friends of the university, it is with a sense of excitement that I welcome you to Gallaudet. My special gratitude goes to the many people who made it possible for me to serve as president. To the Board of Trustees for the confidence they have shown in me. To my family and friends who have come to share this day with me. To the faculty, staff, students, and alumni who make this university so special. And to all of you who are watching on this campus and across the country, thank you for being part of this occasion. There is one person I want to single out for very special thanks. She is at once my harshest critic and my best friend. She's been my trusted advisor for more than 20 years. Her help, her good counsel, her infinite patience, and her understanding are more important to me than I can possibly say. My wife, Linda. My wife. I would like you to meet her. Linda, stand up. Stand up. Stand up. Today, Gallaudet is not simply installing its 8th president, but its first deaf president. An event made possible only because so many of you watching today were willing to commit yourselves to a cause that you believe to be just and right. The right of every person to have unlimited goals and expectations. I'm more used to sitting there with the faculty than standing here. At each commencement, I recall being filled with the hope that only a teacher can know. Hope for the young people ready to make their way in the world outside the familiar halls of Gallaudet. Hope that the world they were going to would be as inviting and responsive to them. In my 20 years on this campus, I have witnessed extraordinary accomplishments by a dedicated community of faculty, staff, and students. My vision has become clearer as I move from student to faculty member to dean to president. My vision of what a person who is deaf can do. In March, many people all over the world grew to share that vision. The belief that the capacity for excellence is not reserved for those who can hear. With this presidency, we will begin together to demonstrate in a new way what our particular brand of excellence can be. Excellence has always been at the heart of our mission. At one time, Gallaudet was small and exclusive, but under the able leadership of each president, our perspective has continually expanded. Only 25 years ago, the first deaf students were admitted to our graduate programs. National Demonstration Schools Kendall and MSSD emerged, as did regional centers and international programs, all responding to the changing needs of the hearing-impaired population throughout the world. The confirmation of our university status 2 years ago was fitting recognition of this broadened mission. With this presidency, we will begin together new initiatives and new programs in areas where the needs of deaf people are most pressing. What Gallaudet means by excellence is the ability to extend important ideas, materials, and resources to new areas, to new groups of people. We reach out to people of any age with any degree of hearing loss. People who sign, people who speak, and people who both sign and speak. People who were born deaf, people who became deaf later in life, people who are not deaf but will contribute to the lives of deaf individuals. Establishing important connections to the world outside of campus is an important part of our mission. The distance to Congress on Capitol Hill has truly become walking distance since last March. And we have found that we have fine friends throughout our government. Members of the House of Representatives and Senators have made the way easier for us. Let us begin together to work closely with the Department of Education, the Congress, and the private sector to be sure that our programs continue to thrive and have maximum impact. We respond to needs beyond Gallaudet's campuses. Although we're a relatively small university, our windows look out on the entire world. We respond to people who are deaf in San Francisco, in New York, in New Orleans, or in Africa. The deaf child in a mainstream program in New Mexico is just as much a part of our community of concern as is the hard of hearing person in Philadelphia. The person who is experiencing a hearing loss for the first time will find programs like Gallaudet to provide support and information. Many of the technologies being used here today to enhance our communication were developed on this campus. Our community becomes even stronger when we are joined by people who are disabled, all people who are disabled. For we share a common cause, the right of every person to have unlimited goals and expectations. Let us begin together to build alliances with disabled people to strengthen further that common cause. Gallaudet researchers are constantly investigating in all areas that are of critical importance to the lives of deaf people. Our scholars have studied not only the traditional disciplines, but the rich and varied history, the unique culture, and the cherished language of people who are deaf. Their work has made Kendall Green a repository for the culture and traditions that have so enriched the deaf community. But at the center of our mission are the students who entrust themselves to us. We are committed to training them to make their way in the world, to perform well, whether they perform with a microscope or perform on stage. We work with deaf people from infancy through adulthood. At all levels, our faculties constantly strive to devise new teaching methods, new programs, and new courses to assure that our students have the best opportunities. And we share what we learn with other universities. Schools and programs across the country have benefited from the projects and strategies created or develop in our pre-college programs. Gallaudet has always responded to the developmental needs of students. Our special academic programs help us find ways to reach the struggling student who didn't get a good start, or to enhance the educational experience of the more gifted and talented student. Human development programs and innovative activities address the students' lives outside the classroom. Excellence at Gallaudet has particularly meant an undergraduate program that embodies the best of the liberal arts tradition and provides a foundation on which students can build their professional lives. The men and women who study in our graduate programs will spread their knowledge throughout society and will contribute significantly to scholarship in the 21st century. These new leaders will be forceful and educated advocates for us all. And now, let us begin together to find more effective ways to challenge all our students to become even better students and citizens. Excellence in many of the areas I have mentioned is traditional at all fine universities. But Gallaudet is and always has been unique among institutions of higher education. Our mission has not only been to educate, but to advocate. Not only to conduct research, but to be sure that the results are available. Not only to serve the campus community, but to serve the larger community of deaf and hearing impaired people everywhere. In its 124-year history, Gallaudet became an institution respected world over. 8 months ago, we were a distinguished university with many achievements. And then, on March 1st, our world changed. On that day, a rally on campus brought together members of the campus community in an unprecedented show of united purpose. Excellence took on a new meaning in the week that followed. The world saw a diverse community come together with a synaptic spark. They saw a student body conducting itself with dignity and deliberation during a week filled with the potential for disruption. They saw articulate students, along with faculty and staff, argue eloquently that their cause was just. And now, let us begin together to make real the promise of that week. At Gallaudet, people who are deaf must have unlimited educational and professional opportunity. Excellence at Gallaudet must mean that we are advocates for the rights of deaf and disabled people everywhere. We must become a working model. No barriers, no impediments, and no restrictions. Gallaudet must demonstrate the true meaning of open access. Hard of hearing people live and work together. Excellence at Gallaudet must mean an unyielding commitment to find more, to never be satisfied with what we know, to always be alert to new possibilities, and to be always curious. Let us begin together to truly embrace the diversity of opinion and outlook that nurtures the intellectual life of any great institution of learning. Each of us, then, who is part of the Gallaudet community, must affirm this broader definition of excellence. We must be excellent students, excellent educators, excellent researchers, and excellent advocates. Samuel Johnson wrote, "Curiosity is one of the permanent characteristics of a vigorous intellect. Let us begin together to increase our curiosity about the world, about learning, about ourselves as persons, deaf or hearing, and that shall make our intellects vigorous and lively." There is a sign phrase known to every teacher in this room, a sign that appears in late April, when energies are flagging and when excuses begin to appear, when the patience is worn out and the coursework seems to be repetitive. The phrase appears, motivation lost. That's a sad sign, an excuse. For a long time, deaf people were suffering from a feeling of motivation lost. But last March, in our unity, in our belief, and in our amazement at our own strength, we enjoyed a true renaissance. Motivation found. We must go forward with that new energy, that renewed belief in ourselves and in one another. We must provide the leadership. We must be the role models. We must share the feeling that we have known so recently, a feeling of strength. I challenge each person in this room and at Elstad, Hughes, MSSD, across the satellite miles, across the country, around the world. I challenge you to take up this motivation, take up this enthusiasm, take up this new courage to try to do anything under the sun. I challenge you to succeed. I challenge each of you, deaf, hard of hearing, hearing, parent, child, or grandparent, student or teacher, friend, anyone within sight of my hands. I challenge you to take up the vigor, to research with new curiosity, to be relentless in your search for better methods and better means, to be untiring in your willingness to reach out to one another, to do only the best work of which you are capable, to argue, deliberate, learn, to take the events of last March to your heart and to your hands, to do the work of making this world responsive and welcoming to deaf people. I challenge you to set the finest example and to bask in this motivation found. Then we will be known not only as the world's only liberal arts university for the deaf, but truly as a community of excellence. Last March, we put our hands to the ground and we felt the vibrations of generations of aspirations and expectations. we felt the impulse of excellence. And we came out of our huddle and we made a beginning. And now, let us begin together. Thank you.